Hello, today it is June 13th and I'm back in Uzbekistan, but I would like to share about my experiences when I was in Tajikistan. I spent just about a week there and I wanted to share about what I did, where I went, who I met, and some of the interesting coincidences that occurred during my journey. So to start off, I've always been interested in Persian culture. Armenia used to actually be part of the Persian Empire. So there's actually different groups of Iranian languages around the world, Persian languages around the world. I wouldn't say Iranian, I'll call them Persian because there is one point was a really large dynasty and numerous dynasties, and some of them reached to many more countries than what is today modern Iran or what was traditionally Persia. And there's the Western branch, and then there's the Eastern branch. And the Eastern branch includes Afghanistan and also Tajikistan. So I wanted to explore there. It's a country that has had wars in the past. I think it was around 5-7 years. It was a long war after the independence from the Soviet Union. And from the different countries in the region, it is one of the more poorer areas, but when I say poor, that's only because of the amount of economic GDP that maybe many people make every year, every month. So there's actually, from what I heard, around 9 million people there, and I believe around 3 million Tajiks live in Moscow or in other parts of Russia. So I went there and I really wanted to do a tour. Because I said, why do I have to try to organize everything on my own? Unfortunately, organizing a tour in Tajikistan with a tour group can be incredibly expensive. For one day to go to a famous lake called the Iskandar Lake, I was into the Great Lake, it was $240. So I said to myself, I think that I have enough Russian to be able to communicate with people to do it on my own. So I decided not to go with the price quote of $240 a day, and also not to go to the price quote of $1,300 for a 6-day tour. So I'll do my best on my own. I'm sure I'll miss some things, but I will do my best. So the journey starts from leaving Tashkent, took about 100,000 some, like $10 or $12 bus ride from Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan, to Khujand. On the bus ride, there was me, a bunch of Tajiks. There were two Turkish people. Actually, one of them was starting a Turkish restaurant in Dushanbe, which is the capital. Now, when you arrive to the border, there's a sort of no man land. One side is Uzbekistan, the other side is Tajikistan. There are a bunch of guys ready to trade money with me and anyone who passes through for really unfair rates. So I did not go with them. But what I did learn about Tajikistan is when you go, it's important to bring dollars, euro, probably those are the best two currencies, because getting access to banks that work with sufficient money, I happened to go on Sunday and I had a lot of trouble getting money. And I'll get to the point of what happened with my bank account after, but with my bank card. So I eventually arrive in Khujand. Khujand is a city in the north of Tajikistan, and I arrived pretty late. I talked to a teacher who happens to be there, and he helps me because I'm really good at communicating with people with a little bit I know. He knew English. In different languages to get what I need to communicate, to get to where I need to go, or to see who I need to see, or to find what I need to see. So I make errors, but at the same time, I communicate my needs. So, isn't that what language is for? I'm not teaching Russian. I'm using Russian or other languages just to get what I need. So I arrive at a hotel. It's a nice one right on the boardwalk area that they have there. And the following day, I go to take out some money, which seems like a very straightforward thing. Take your card, put it in the machine, and get some money out. First 2 or 3 machines I went to, no money in them. So then I found one a bit farther away, and it ended up that I needed to get help to get there because where I was told by the hotel it wasn't the right place. So I arrive with the help of a taxi service. Most of the taxi service in Tajikistan don't work with an app like Uzbekistan with the big cities, but they work with phone numbers. You just call a number, like in Dushanbe 1111 or 3333. In other cities, there's other numbers. So I get someone, they help me, I get to a bank, put my card in, trying to figure out what I need, how much. It's about 10 or 11 samani, which is their money, to $1. Ends up the card is kept by the bank. And I'm like, oh no, did this person cheat me? The person who was trying to help me, the taxi driver who picked me up, and I'm like, no, he didn't, the taxi driver didn't. So then I go back to the hotel, don't have any money, and luckily someone at the hotel has a neighbor who is on vacation, who works at that bank. That person we went and picked up. That person went to the bank, went through the back door, picked up my card, we went to another place, and I got it. So that was my sort of introduction. Saw a friend who's a colleague, also a teacher, named Nasiba. That was really interesting. There was a sort of cultural festival with a lot of kids there, and some of them had developmental disabilities. So they were just playing and dancing and having music. So, nighttime, Sunday evening, right? I left on Saturday. I think to myself, well, I really want to move forward in terms of getting my visa. I need my visa to Uzbekistan. It was quite challenging to get the correct size of a photo, to get the correct dimensions on my passport style photo, and I just tried over and over for months and I couldn't get it. So I went to Dushanbe, stayed at a hotel. I think it was called Dushanbe or Tajikistan Hotel. It was okay, a little weird. But the following morning I get up, I have my breakfast, and I go to get my visa. Go there, see a group of Americans. One of them's actually another teacher, an English language fellow, and was one. Another one was an American guy who was touring the area, older guy. Another one was working on greenhouses. Another one was working on public health. And there was an interesting Afghan guy who was from Indiana. So we're all trying to figure out how to get visas. They tell us to go somewhere else next to the Uzbek embassy. I go there, I pay $45, and I get a one-time entry visa because my visa ended in Uzbekistan after the 8 months of my job. So I get it, and I start talking to them, and they're very nice, but I really want to go to nature. So I know Iskandarkul is the place to go to. Head to Iskandarkul. How? I had to go to a cement factory, and there is where a lot of the taxis are. Now, the general price, I was told it could be 100, 300, 400 if I go alone all the way to Iskandarkul. It's about a 2-hour trip away. 2-3 hours. So I'm like, no, I know how much it is. It's around 70 or 50. I'm undershooting it, and someone comes to me, and usually when you're offered these rides, if you sit in the first car, you're gonna wait for hours. You don't want to commit to one. You want to let them kind of akula. These are like good Russian, it's sharks. They're kind of like sharks, and they're looking for where they can get someone and keep them. So you don't want to go into one car too quickly. You want to wait and see your options. So I went in one. I waited a little bit. I was like, "There's no one going to come to go to where I need to go. I need to find another option." So I go off. I drink some water. I buy some sweets, and someone comes to me, taps on my shoulder, says, "My brother's about to go. Come join my brother. 60 samani. You can go. No problem." Join the brother. The brother's really nice, and he has a bunch of tires. He's bringing tires to his village. Now, this area where Iskandarkul is, a lot of areas, actually over 90% of Tajikistan is mountains. And there's a lot of water. There's a lot of natural resources. So he brings me to the crossroad of where his village starts and where he's going to be doing delivery of the tires. And I have to basically hitch a ride there. So I'm waiting there. I got my finger up. I got this one. I'm using all fingers except the middle one. And eventually, I wait maybe 20 minutes in the shade. Different people come by. They either go in a different direction or had no space. One of them I actually found out was the owner of the hotel I was eventually going to stay. So I get a ride with a policeman, and some other guy was driving him. And basically got a ride free up there. It was just $6 to get to the crossroad, and then I went forward. Just found it cool. Arrived, there was different hotels. One was a really nice one called well, yes, that one. And I went there. The first one, it was the most beautiful, but it was